Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the Opetaia versus Breidis 2 breakdown and prediction video. As Jai Opetaia, the undefeated and now former IBF Cruiserweight World Champion, is set to return on Saturday, May 18th on the Fury versus Usyk DAZN pay-per-view undercard, as he battles Breidis, the former three-time Cruiserweight champion, in a rematch from their July 2022 bout where Opetaia defeated Breidis by a 12-round unanimous decision and took the IBF Cruiserweight title. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight right here is a good one between these two. It's a good matchup between, between cruiserweights, but it's for the vacant IBF Cruiserweight title, we'll get back into it. But if you haven't seen my breakdown videos before, what I do is I break down the fight in detail. I talk about the fight itself on both sides, and then we get into each fighter individually and talk about them. I ask the same questions. I say what they've done coming into the fight. At the end of the video, I ask one final question, then I give my prediction on the fight. So let's jump right into it and look at this fight now in detail and see and break it down. So again, the vacant IBF Cruiserweight title is on the line. It shouldn't be. Jai Opetaia should have never been stripped of the title. The IBF decided to strip him when he made a second optional defense instead of facing Breidis in a mandatory rematch. But the thing is Breidis wasn't available to fight in their rematch in December. So Opetaia, because he was getting paid a lot of money, went forward with fighting Elizoro, and the IBF decided to strip him of the belt. Now, that was a dumb, stupid decision, and they are doing the right thing by having them fight for the vacant title now, having Opetaia have an opportunity to win the title that he was wrongfully stripped of back. And it's a big one. To me, this really is going to decide the top guy in the division right here. Opetaia took that spot in an upset when he beat Breidis the first time. Breidis was the shutdown #1 guy prior to that. He was. Breidis was the shutdown #1 cruiserweight in the world prior to the loss to Opetaia. So now these two guys are going to collide. There's been a couple, guys that have made names for themselves, including Noel Gavor, the WBC champion. Gilberto Ramirez is a new WBA champion. And then Chris Billum-Smith upset Lauren Sokoli last year to become the WBO champion. But this is to determine who the #1 cruiserweight in the world is right here overall. So it's a big fight. Now, let's get into each fighter. Oh, it's also on a huge card. I mean, to fight on the Fury Usyk undercard, and they're the co-feature, that gives a lot of prestige. It gives a lot of viewership. There's gonna be a lot of people tuning in, because for the first time in 25 years, we are gonna crown an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. So that just makes it 10 times bigger for these two guys to come out and show. Now, in this fight, the A side is Opetaia, the B side is Breidis. So we're going to talk about Jai Opetaia first. We're going to look at what he's done coming into this fight, look at his last 3 fights that actually date back to July of 2022, when he upset and defeated Breidis by a dominant 12-round unanimous decision and became the IBF Cruiserweight champ. He didn't return for 14 months as he was having surgery, and he ended up returning in September of last year, 2023, when he battled Jordan Thompson and destroyed him, successfully defending his title with a 4th-round TKO victory. He was an undefeated but little-known cruiserweight. And then he followed that up in December when he took on Elizoro, who was another undefeated but unknown cruiserweight, and he destroyed him in a cruiserweight bout after he had been stripped. That was on the Day of Reckoning card last December. He destroyed him with a 1st-round knockout victory and a knockout of the year candidate. So now he's been fully active his last couple fights. He's raring to go. He's 28 years old, 6'2" with a 76-inch reach. I mean, this guy is at the top of his game, and he can't wait to get back in there against Mairis Breidis. He's rolling, he's on fire, and he's pissed off that he got stripped of the belt. He wants his title back, and he's hungry right now. So I think Jai Opetaia is absolutely ready to go for this showdown and rematch with Mairis Breidis. Now, what does Opetaia need to do to win this fight? Well, Jai Opetaia has the youth. He has the height and reach advantage slightly, and he has just been rolling. You know, and he's hungry. You know what I mean? And he's not the underdog anymore, and he wants to showcase himself. He's 11 years younger than Mairis Breidis. So he needs to come in full-on attack mode, and I think, you know, not completely open himself up, but he needs to do a combination of boxing, punching, where he just takes over and dominates this fight, and I think he has a clear path to victory if he can do that. Now, can Jai Opetaia win this fight by knockout? You know, I think Breidis fading and Opetaia being so young and kind of feeling himself now and understanding how good he really is, knowing he's not the underdog, I think he can knock out Mairis Breidis. Can Jai Opetaia win this fight by a decision? He already has beaten Breidis by a decision before. He can beat him again. Yes, he can win a decision. Okay, what does a win mean for Jai Opetaia? Well, he regains his cruiserweight belt, and he completely establishes himself as the top guy. This time you leave no doubt in a rematch against the previous top guy. So he absolutely and utterly does that. And a big win, the bigger the win, the more credit he's going to get. So if he comes in there, now that Mairis Breidis has not been overlooking him and he dominates him again, he can absolutely, his stock goes up. It's huge for him. It might even be bigger to win on this card than it was the first time, because nobody really saw that first fight. Not American fight fans and not worldwide on a global network. So this one means a lot. What does a loss mean for Jai Opetaia? A loss would really hurt him. It really would. Because we already believe that he's the #1 and the new face and the guy to take over the division. So a loss to Breidis in this one would really hurt him and make you wonder how good is this guy really. So now let's switch over to the other challenger, the former 3-time Cruiserweight World Champion, Mairis Breidis. And we look at what he's done coming into this fight. His last 3 fights date back to 2020 when he defeated Junior Dorticos in probably his best career win, a 12-round unanimous decision to claim the IBF title and win the World Boxing Super Series Season 2. That was huge, you know, and he absolutely claimed himself as the top guy in the division. But since then, he's only fought twice. He fought Arthur Mann, I believe that was in 2021, and got I think it was a TKO win over him to retain his belt. And then he followed that up with the loss to Jai Opetaia was his last fight in July of 2022 when he lost by a one-sided decision. So he's been out of the ring almost 2 years, 39 years old now. He's not giving up too much in height and reach, but the age gap is big, 11 years, and he hasn't really done much. The only difference is this time, I don't believe he's going to be overlooking Opetaia, but we're going to see what he can pull off. So it's going to be interesting to see. What can he do to win this fight? What does he need to do to win this fight? And for me, I think he needs to try to counterpunch Opetaia and land something big and hope he can draw Opetaia into trying to go for the knockout so he can set up those big shots and try to land something monstrous. If he can do that, if he can box and dictate the pace, he's got a shot because he's been there, done that. That's the one thing we know about Mairis Breidis. Now, can he win this fight by knockout? I think he can catch Opetaia and hurt him. Absolutely. Mairis Breidis has always had a pretty good shot. He's a crafty veteran. I think he can win by knockout. Can he win by decision? I think he can. You know, Breidis again is a crafty guy, you know, and he's went and fought close fights before. So I think it's possible to win a decision over Opetaia. What's more likely, that he wins by knockout or decision? And we'll go back to Opetaia in a minute as well, because that's one thing I didn't ask. I think it's more likely that Breidis wins a decision over Opetaia, but then again, if he catches him with something big, he might be able to finish him like that. Now, what's more likely for Opetaia to win? Because I skipped over that. What's more likely for him to win by knockout or a decision? I think it's more likely decision, because Breidis has always had a good chin, but I do think the knockout's possible. And what does a win mean for Maris Breidis in this fight? A win would be monstrous. He becomes a 4-time Cruiserweight champ with a win. He regains his title. You know, he regains the top spot in the division. Avenges a loss. You know, he's only lost 2 times in his career, to Alexander Usyk, and he never got the rematch with him, and to Jai Opetaia here. So I really believe a loss or a win would mean the world. It'd be the biggest of his career, and it'd be on a huge card here on Fury Usyk too. So honestly, I think this win over Opetaia on this card might be even bigger than the win over Dortico, so it means a lot. And finally, what does a loss mean? A loss just might spell the end for Breidis. This is his kind of last day in the sun to see where he's at. After this, at 39, if he gets beat down, he could say, hey, I went out on my shield, I fought the best, I lost, I'm done. He's got nothing else to prove. So I really think he's going into this fight with nothing to lose, knowing he's the underdog, but wanting to leave it all in the ring. And I think that will give him the confidence to pull this one off. Now, we're almost done here. Is it better for boxing if Jai Opetaia or Maris Breidis wins this fight? And for me, that's simple. It's better for boxing if Opetaia wins. He's younger, only 28 years old. He's got an exciting style. We've already seen Breidis and what he can do. He's the old lion. A win here only brings the Cruiserweight division back down a little bit. And I think, you know, he doesn't want that. So for me, I think a win, I think it's way better for boxing if Jai Opetaia wins this fight. And then finally, my prediction. Who's going to win this fight between Jai Opetaia and Maris Breidis and become the IBF Cruiserweight champion again? And I honestly believe Jai Opetaia is going to come in hungrier, better, more aggressive. And with Breidis being 39 and not fighting in such a long time, I think he's going to be in over his head. I think Jai Opetaia absolutely believes in himself, and he's going to be angry. I think he's coming for blood. I think he's going to break down Maris Breidis in this fight and stop him in the late rounds to regain the IBF title and become Cruiserweight champion again. But I do believe with Breidis, his skill and his veteran, his craftiness, because he's been there, done that, I do believe he took this rematch because he believes in himself, and I do believe he has an opportunity to pull this one off as well, so we'll see what happens. But that's it. That's what I got. That's my Opetaia versus Breidis breakdown and prediction video. I hope you enjoyed it. They will collide Saturday, May 18th on the Fury Usyk DAZN pay-per-view undercard as the co-feature for the vacant IBF Cruiserweight title. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.